Hey guys, it's Riley. So we're talking about representation in the media, and this is going to be a pretty short video because, to be honest, there isn't much representation in the media. Recently, there has been a wave of media representation for trans people, and that's been great, but up until now, representation has really been pretty black and white. I think the most common representation you see is in fictional television, where trans women are occasionally made side characters in an episode or two of random shows, and most of the time they're portrayed as novelties, as jokes. And that's really how we've been treated by the media for about as long as trans identities have been known to the world. And that's really the nicest way we were treated. Now recently, there's been a huge wave of representation in the news and such. And this has been great. The only issue is that it's very predictable representation. Yes, it's being discussed more, the topic of being transgender, but trans people are still treated very much as a novelty. Also, it's still very black and white. The majority of representation for trans women is like representation of most women in the media, hypersexualized, and quite honestly, fetishized. Even if it's in a subtle or unapparent way, it's still there. And as for trans guys, we're really only ever depicted in fiction as these pretty, super secretive, insecure little boys, which is only a very small glimpse into the timeline of a trans person. It's very rare that you'll ever see a trans guy in the media who has already transitioned. People seem to be much more fascinated by the story of the pre-transition trans guy trying to fit in among other guys. See, people like to look at us when we're the most entertaining, and that's how the media works. So representation has been pretty shitty. And honestly, I think that's a big part of the reason that the world has been so slow in coming to accept trans people and acknowledge. Honestly, the nicest representation of us has been as a joke. It's not even the worst way that we're looked at. So basically, to keep things short, representation is pretty shitty. It's just starting to improve, and I'm sure it will continue to improve, but we're only at the beginning of that. It's gonna take some time. Sorry this had to be so short, it was pretty last minute. I may have fallen asleep before remembering to make this, so this is technically gonna be uploaded pretty early Wednesday morning. At least it's up. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Have a good rest of your week. Peace.